Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and today I am talking about GameBoy Macros again. A few weeks ago I built this is my first macro, and it's a pretty nice little job, nice little two-tone colour, very impressed with it. Now anyone that doesn't know, a GameBoy Macro is a DS Lite with the top screen removed so that you can play Game Boy Advance games on the bottom screen, which is absolutely fantastic. And then my son decided that it was such a cool little thing that he wanted one as well. I've got a huge box of spare cases and buttons and screens, so I decided I must have enough in there to put together another one. I had a donor DS which had a broken hinge and a damaged top screen, so I took the motherboard out of that, and when I was putting this together, it was a huge learning curve for me. It's not as simple as just taking the top screen off. The DS needs the top screen for it to boot. There are three main methods to making a macro. The first one is the solder method, where you solder a small resistor to 2 points on the motherboard. This fools the DS into thinking the top screen is still attached. And then there's the no solder method, which you put a small, like a button contact across those 2 points and hold it down with some tape. That does the same thing. Neither of those methods for me work, so I opted for a third method, which I've only seen one other YouTuber do, and it requires taking apart the top LCD. It's made up of about 3 different layers, and sandwiched in between those layers is a light bar, and the light bar is attached to the top LCD ribbon cable, and as long as the light bar is attached to the ribbon cable, this fools the DS into thinking that there's a top screen. That is the method that I chose to make my Game Boy Macro. So the top screen is connected up here. You've obviously then got a cable that comes up, and it's quite a big cable. It's also got the speakers attached to it. Without the top screen on, I had to find somewhere else to put it. So my cable is tightly flattened and laid underneath the bottom screen here. And there isn't a lot of space inside the bottom half of a DS, so it was a bit of a tight squeeze, but it worked. This is my Game Boy Macro, and today I decided to make another one, and this is the end result. Now, I wanted to make one as quickly and as easily as possible. There are plenty of very fantastic Game Boy Macros out there with lots of different mods and even a different shell on top, but I wanted to see how easy it was and how quick I could make it. When I made this one, it was a learning process, and it took me about 2 or 3 days to finally get it all working and put together and everything in the right place. This one, which I made today, took about 30 minutes, and it is the quickest and dirtiest, easiest method to make a Game Boy Macro. So I did the same method again. I used the LED ribbon cable strip method. This time I decided to go with no speakers, so I took the 2 speakers off of the cable. And this one I drilled some holes in the bottom of the case and fed one of the speakers underneath. I did some trimming of the plastic inside so that made some room for the speaker, so there's actually sound that comes out of this, because obviously the speakers are supposed to be in the top half of a DS screen. So there is one speaker in the bottom of this to give it some audio. With this one there is no audio, so I didn't need to cut the bottom casing at all. I didn't need to drill any holes in, no trimming on the inside. It was simply just to get rid of the 2 speakers and have a macro that has no audio by itself, but if you want to listen to games you can use the headphone socket. So there's no modification to the bottom shell. Stylus is still there, even though it's pointless because it's Game Boy Advance games, whereas on this one I cut the stylus. It's only about that long, and just glued it in place. There are no case modifications to this at all. The hinge here, which holds the LED lights, normally is screwed in. On this one I just super glued it in place. This one comes off, this one is attached to the top casing anyway, so I just glued that in place. That is the only thing I have done to this. A lot of people put some kind of bar across here. Mine, other one, just has a plain white bar. Some people modify theirs and add in a coloured LED beam that goes across there, but this is a bare bones Game Boy Macro mod. When it came to the screen, obviously it's going to be a Game Boy Advance, so you don't need a touch screen. So I removed the digitizer, which left a screen that was quite sunk into the casing. So I just simply found a screen surround from a black DS screen that I had and just put it on top, stuck it down with a bit of glue. I do like my two-tone colours. I did think about doing an all-pink Game Boy Macro, but I like the black and pink look. It just gives it a little bit of an edge, and like I say, I've got spare shells and spare buttons everywhere for DS's. So this is it. This is probably the quickest and easiest Game Boy Macro you could come up with. There's no modifications to it at all. The only thing you've got to do is fold that ribbon cable in here and underneath the screen. And without the digitizer on there's a bit more wiggle room underneath the screen. Just hold it down with a bit of Captain tape. It insulates between the board and the screen. And there you go. So let's have a quick look. This is my Game Boy Macro. Quick and easy. So as you can hear, there is no sound coming from it. Volume is up full, but there are no speakers attached, so you're not going to get any sound. But if you did want to hear some sound, then you simply take your headphones and plug them in. I'm not sure if you will be able to hear this at all, but we've got some music playing. The volume switch is up full. I'll just put these up to the speaker to see if you can hear them. But I can hear it. And there you go. That is a quick, dirty, easy, very simple way to make a Game Boy Macro. Really don't actually know why I keep making these. I've only got two Game Boy Advance games. One is FIFA and one is a Scrabble game, but it's more about just a project to do. So I've got two Game Boy Macros, one pretty decent, quite a good effort to put in there, made it nice and smart, a little bar across the top there, speakers in the bottom, or a speaker in the bottom, and then you've got this one which is a quick, I wouldn't say a hack job, because it still looks pretty decent, and I like the colour scheme, etc., and it's fully functional, obviously except sound output. But there you go. That is a very quick way to make a Game Boy Macro. If you're not too bothered about cosmetics, I suppose you could fill in the sort of slit here and do something with this up here. Maybe, I don't know, you could probably make Game Boy Macro across the bottom here or something to make it a little bit smarter. But for me, 30 minutes, a dead DS and some spare parts, and I've got a working Game Boy Macro. Let me know what you think. Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.